movie nerds, and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. My name is Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about Hellraiser, the new 2022 version. Now, I decided to start peppering in some Halloween movies as we are starting to get closer and closer to that holiday, and it is one of my favorites. Not all of the movies that I cover as my Halloween favorites are going to be like this one. I typically don't like slasher films, but I am a very huge fan of like Evil Dead and the original Hellraisers, so of course I had to check this one out. Now, for the most part, the 2022 edition of Hellraiser, I would say for the vast majority of this movie, had me feeling very much like Jurassic Park. You do plan on having dinosaurs in this dinosaur tour. It was very much like I had that feeling of you do plan on having Cenobites in this Cenobite movie. I would say the vast majority of this movie passes by without you seeing a single one. And I think this is probably one of the first Hellraiser movies that I've seen where it was a bit more of a slow burn. It doesn't jump straight into like the horror fest like I am used to. But I have to say I was pretty pleasantly surprised by this one. If you can stick it out through kind of the explanation and the setup for the film, the ending sequences of this I think are quite fun. I did really like the direction that they went as far as the design of the Cenobites. In this one, we see it change pretty dramatically, I think, i.e. we have a female Pinhead instead of the original male Pinhead, and all of the leather fun is gone. It's all just skin and flesh, and that kind of composes the majority of their outfits, if outfit is the correct term for this. Now, I will say I wasn't really that interested in any of the actual characters that comprise like the group of people that open the box and kind of start all of this rolling. So it was kind of one of those things where it didn't matter to me if every single one of them met their demise at the hands of a Cenobite. And I think that that's pretty common for Hellraiser movies, is that you're kind of there for the Cenobites and to see what they do and how it goes. And I was actually pretty intrigued by the fact that they brought in Goran Vishnik, if that is the correct way that he pronounces his last name. I apologize if not. He's a Croatian actor. He was also in Practical Magic. And I was surprised, honestly, to see him in this movie. But he kind of plays this rich guy who's where the box comes from in the first place, how the main character kind of finds it or gets her hands on it. And he's built his entire mansion as basically a giant puzzle box. And spoilers, so pause or exit right now to go watch the movie if you haven't seen it. But he ends up, instead of being one of the people that kind of gets ripped apart and, what you want is the pleasure of pain, the Cenobites is they, figure out that really what he's all about is power. That's what, gets him his jollies, not so much the pain of it or wanting to experience the sensation of things. And so he does end up getting taken up into the mothership, if that's where we're going, and kind of becomes this new creation, which, if I am completely honest, I didn't quite understand what his role was at the end of the movie or what the significance was. And I don't know if that was done intentionally, i.e. they plan to kind of continue this series and maybe explain later what his role is. But it was interesting to kind of see him get transformed at the end. So for me, Hellraiser wasn't a total win. I think it's fine. It's a good Halloween movie to watch if you're looking for one. I think if you are a fan of the Hellraiser series, this one is definitely one that is worth adding to that collection. But again, what fails for me is just how long it takes the movie to actually get to the Cenobites and actually get to the thing that I was there for, right? But beyond that, I think it was fine. It was enjoyable. It was entertaining. And I would recommend it definitely as a Halloween film. So those are my thoughts on the new Hellraiser 2022. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.